After last week's episode filled in the gaps in the timeline, this week saw everyone begin to close in. Hannibal was drawing everyone closer to him, and he had plenty of people stood in line, wanting to draw first blood. We didn't see much of Will this episode, but we knew he was heading in the right direction. Alana and Mason's unlikely team-up led to Alana doing some investigating of her own. She knows full well what a monster she is working with, and she does very well to ignore the slurs and comments that Mason sends in her direction. But much like Mason, she wants to see Hannibal gone. They both lust for revenge, and she is able to find a link via the expensive and exquisite shopping tastes of one Bedelia du Maurier. Now, the episode itself was focused and centred around Ronaldo Pazzi. We haven't spent a huge amount of time with this character thus far in the story, so it was great that this episode certainly rectified that. Pazzi only had his suspicions. He had no hard evidence to confirm that Dr. Fell was indeed Hannibal Lecter, so Inspector Pazzi decided it was time to personally visit the museum at which Dr. Fell curated. And after making his visit and collecting all the information he needed, naturally, Hannibal was alerted to his suspicions. Later on, we found out that Patsy's quest for redemption was under threat from the bounty placed by Mason Verger. Would Patsy fall afoul to the riches that were offered before him, or would he stay true to his cause, to see the monster of Florence captured for good? Welcome to the top 5 moments of the episode, followed by the overall verdict.
I'm sure you got a taste of him, too. Spitters are quitters, and you don't strike me as a quitter.
As Alana assists Mason in searching for any kind of clue to the whereabouts of Hannibal, she finds someone who pays in cash, buys on a regular basis, and would only have Hannibal's very exquisite taste.
She's shopping for Hannibal.
Bravo.
With a multi-million-dollar bounty placed on Hannibal's head, Mason knew that that kind of money was sure to attract plenty of attention, and after visiting Hannibal for his personal confirmation that it was him, Patsy's temptation was beginning to overflow.
So you have no illusions about what's going to happen to Dr. Lecter? You would be selling him into torture and death?
I am aware.
Why are you searching for him?
I'm not searching for Hannibal. I know exactly where he is.
We didn't see much of Will this episode, but we followed his journey along with Chio as they venture to Florence on the train. And after admitting to Will that she knew Hannibal was in Florence, Will asked Chio why she never told him the truth in the first place. And she decided to answer him in the way that Will could understand.
But violence is what you understand.
Bowels in or bowels out? Out, I think.
As Detective Patsy gets too close when investigating Hannibal, we get to see firsthand why assisting Mason Verger and accepting the bounty placed on Hannibal's head really wasn't the smartest of ideas, as Ronaldo Pazzi met the same fate that his ancestor did. After arriving just in the nick of time to see Patsy displayed over the courtyard, Jack confronted Hannibal once more as he looked to even the score from what Hannibal did to him in their epic showdown last season. My overall verdict for this week's episode of Hannibal is a full 10 out of 10. Easily one of the best episodes of Hannibal throughout the entire show. And what a gripping final 15 minutes that was. Not only did Inspector Patsy meet his cruel fate, but Jack and Hannibal squared off for round 2. Thus far this season has been building up to what we got then. Hannibal has been found. No longer can he assume the life of Dr. Fell and live away in Europe alongside Bedelia. And once Inspector Patsy came knocking, Hannibal knew his days were numbered. But strangely, there were no police. So that meant only one thing. He was looking to bring Hannibal down on his own. Once Patsy became aware of the $1 million bounty that had been placed on Hannibal's head, his quest for redemption became corrupted by greed. And from then on, I knew exactly where this story was heading. Patsy made the fatal mistake of underestimating his opponent, returning to the museum to seek out a fingerprint so he could confirm to Mason that he did indeed have the right man. But sadly, that was all for Patsy. Him turning his back and thinking Hannibal wasn't aware of his true intentions cost Patsy all that he held dear. I'm not going to lie, what followed was one of my most anticipated scenes in the whole of the Hannibal story. It was just one of those iconic scenes I can always remember from the films, and I'm so very, very glad that we got to witness this play out in Brian Fuller's vision. I was so impressed with the dialogue. I'd actually watched this scene from the movie quite recently, and they were able to mirror and twist it ever so slightly to fit this version of the story. Such as in the film, it's Clarice that calls Hannibal when Patsy is about to be thrown over the edge, and in the show, it's Alana. Little parts and references like that are why this show is so special, and Patsy's fate was just as brutal as it was in the film. Hannibal made the choice for him, and sentenced Patsy to Bowels Out and hung over the courtyard. Now naturally, of course, the big talking point was the rematch between Hannibal and Jack. After coming face to face with the man that nearly killed him during their last encounter, Jack made sure that the outcome that befell him last year would not be the same again. And to be honest, could you even call that round 2? Because let's face it, Jack absolutely destroyed Hannibal from start to finish. The guy deserves it but he didn't even get one punch in. There were times where you were thinking, you're giving him too much time there, Jack. But no, another crushing blow came Hannibal's way. And the look on Jack's face when Hannibal held on to Patsy was priceless. He'd just beaten the man to a bloody pulp and was finally ready to rid Hannibal from his life. And somehow, the man still has the wherewithal and awareness to save himself when knocked over the balcony. And that's where the episode ended, with Hannibal limping away and Jack firmly on the chase. I expect Hannibal will make a close escape next week, but we are still yet to have our two main protagonists meet up once again. What will happen when they do is anyone's guess. Is Will looking to kill Hannibal so he doesn't turn into him? Or could he even help him escape? Let's not forget the wild cards as well. Chio is on her way to Florence, so she could play a key part in the outcome. And another, Alana. She now knows for certain that Hannibal resides in Florence. So if you thought people were getting close to catching Hannibal before the episode, then you are a whole lot closer now. It's safe to say that in the near future, Hannibal Lecter's days as a free man are certainly numbered. Continue the support for Hannibal in any way you can in hope that the show will get picked up by another outlet. Check out my other video, which is linked in the description, for other ways that you could help save Hannibal. We all want the show to continue and know that it would be an absolute travesty if that wasn't the case. So hopefully if enough of us band together, our voices will be heard and someone will save Hannibal. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.
How will you feel when I'm gone?
Alive.